Usually when we talk about POCO, we talk about flagship killers. We talk about sacrificing a bit of build quality to get that fastest chip possible. But this is different. This is the POCO F8 Ultra. If you follow the Chinese market, you might know it by another model name. But here in the Philippines and globally, it's POCO's second shot at the ultra-premium segment following last year's POCO F7 Ultra. They're calling it Ultra Power Ascended, and in this case, it's not just marketing fluff. That circular module on the back? It's not a camera, it's actually a subwoofer. The rest of the audio setup includes two speakers of the same size at the top and bottom of the frame. Together, POCO and Bose created a true 2.1-channel audio system that's unlike anything we've seen before on a flagship. Now don't get it twisted. This doesn't mean that the POCO F8 Ultra is just louder. In our testing, the volume is comparable to other high-end models we've tested. The secret sauce is in the low frequency or bass detail, specifically between 60 and 200 Hz. It adds a richness and thump you almost never hear on a phone. It also uses loudness compensation, similar to what Apple does to boost highs and lows at lower volumes so the audio stays clear. If you're the type of person who hates wearing headphones while gaming, this is genuinely the best-sounding smartphone we've ever tested. On the front, you're looking at a massive 6.9-inch AMOLED panel. It's pushing 120 Hz with a peak brightness of 3,500 nits, covering around 25% of the display area. POCO says it's using the new Vision Boost T8 chipset to manage things like super resolution and smart frame rates. It's sharp, visually indistinguishable from a 2K panel thanks to a redesigned pixel layout. Design-wise, this denim blue colorway has a fabric-like vegan leather texture. It feels fantastic, grippy, and premium. Just a heads up though, based on the material, this might wear down faster than glass over a few years, so you might want to use the included case. Also, despite that large speaker hole at the back, the POCO F8 Ultra is IP68 water and dust resistance, which is quite impressive. Under the hood, we have the new Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, and honestly, the numbers are ridiculous. We ran the latest Antutu benchmark version 11 and our unit scored over 3.7 million points. That is easily the highest score we have ever seen on any mobile device, period. But benchmarks are just numbers. We threw the most demanding titles we could find at it, starting with Grid Legends. This is a console quality racer that usually brings mobile chips to their knees. On the POCO F8 Ultra, it handled the complex weather effects and high-speed rendering without breaking a sweat. We also tested the survival roguelike Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. Now, roguelikes can get messy when enemies flood the screen. But even with the screen packed with bugs, and while we were actively screen recording the gameplay in the background, the game ran at a solid 60 FPS. No stutters, no drops. But the real test, as always, is Genshin Impact. We cranked absolutely everything to the max, highest graphics and 60 FPS mode. And despite all these settings, the POCO F8 Ultra held a solid 60 FPS or very close to it. It was buttery smooth, even during heavy combat with particle effects flying everywhere. Of course, all this ultra power generate heat. After about 30 minutes of this punishment, the phone definitely gets warm to the touch. But unlike some other models that claim to be built for gaming, we didn't see any major frame drops or aggressive throttling that ruined the experience. The Denim Inspire back also obviously helps. Here's the most impressive part though. We ran the dreaded 3D Mark wildlife stress test. If you've been reading articles online, you know that almost every smartphone with a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 fails this test. They overheat and abruptly close the app. We even tried the same test on a phone powered by the MediaTek Dimensity 9500, a comparable top-of-the-line chip, and guess what? It didn't finish the test either. But usually, when you have a chip this powerful, you expect the battery life to take a hit. We didn't expect the phone to be efficient. Well, we were wrong. We are happy to report that the POCO F8 Ultra, with its massive 6,500 mAh battery, easily lasts the whole day, even with heavy use. In our PC Mark battery rundown test, the POCO F8 Ultra clocked in at over 21 hours. For context, that is the second highest score we've seen on a flagship device this year. Considering the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 inside, that kind of endurance is almost unexpected. And when you do trade it, you've got 100-watt wired charging and finally 50-watt wireless charging to get you back up to speed. Cameras have historically been POCO's weak point, but they are taking it seriously this time. The main shooter uses a light fusion 950 sensor, and that matters because this is the exact same flagship sensor you'll find in the Xiaomi 17. In our testing, the results are fantastic, especially in daylight. And because the sensor is physically large, the smartphone doesn't have to rely as heavily on aggressive night mode processing. The shots look organic, sharp, and clean, with dynamic range that rivals phones twice the price. Moving to the zoom, this isn't just a basic telephoto. It's a 50-megapixel periscope with optical image stabilization. It gives you a 115mm equivalent focal length, which is a true 5 times optical zoom. The bokeh you get for portraits looks pretty realistic, and because it has OIS, you can actually get stable shots at long range. Finally, the ultrawide. POCO outfitted the F8 Ultra with a 50-megapixel ultrawide camera. This is a huge upgrade. The detail is sharp right to the edges and the colors are actually consistent with the main camera. So, is the POCO F8 Ultra worth it? If you're a photographer first, you might miss the versatility of a more powerful camera system. But if you're a gamer, this is a no-brainer. Between the record-breaking 3.7 million Antutu score, the long battery life, and a sound system that embarrasses the competition, the Ultra badge on this model feels easily earned.